Marshmallow got a new Play-Doh in a matching color. Mhm. It is a nice day. I have Johann Sebastian Bach playing. The cellist, I think his name is Kirschbaum, very famous cellist, and infinitely passionate performance. Fantastic. Very infinitely grateful for all of those amazing recordings that are put out there for free on YouTube. It's super, absolutely super. It's playing on my big Chromebook, and I bought a Landbyte speaker, which is a stereo speaker. It's one speaker, but it has stereo sound coming. It's like a boombox sort of, but kind of short like this. And it's really made to go into the drinking water bottle holder on bicycles for people to have loud music while they're riding their bicycles through the mountains. So, but that doesn't apply to me. I do my mountain bike riding on the tablet while I'm sitting. I do mental mountain bike riding. I tried mountain bike riding once in LA with Paul. I got myself a green, very thick, large Cannondale bicycle, light green, this thick frame, and fully equipped for mountain bike riding. Some asshole is shooting out there. I hate it. But anyway, we went all the way to the top of the mountains where the antennas are, and I think there's a telescope peak or something. And then we skidded, literally skidded downhill. And I was constantly skidding and constantly falling into the dust. And it's full of dust, that entire trail. And it was not fun. So that was my first and last mountain bike ride. After that, I gave the bicycle to Paul. And then he bought me a cheap one from Costco, a smoothie. And that one works very well for streets, for cemented areas, so better than the green one. The green one is like has extra super suspension and all of this, and traction tires, and that makes riding on pavement kind of hard. So the smoothie one works better for that. And then we went with the dogs bike riding on Ballona Creek bike trail every night, anywhere between 12 midnight and 5 a.m. So those were our wee hour exercise hours, and that was very much fun. And I like remembering these times, particularly at night, going with the dogs, Ludwig and Samantha, our former Great Danes, going with them on the Ballona Creek bike path and driving all the way up to, I think, to Century City. I don't know, almost, definitely past Culver City, and it was really awesome. And there were very few people, and it was fun, and it was nice. And the stars were out, it was great, and we even smelled ocean air, so, which I didn't smell anymore when we left, by the time we left LA. The air was so dirty with smog and cigarette smoke, and it smelled like a bar, like alcoholics. That's how the air smelled. So we were like, okay, now we gotta get out of here really fast now. And we did, but we had some good times in LA, before the air got too polluted. So, and I'm sure in Malibu and in Brentwood the air is still okay because they are above the city. So They're in the clouds, literally. They're in heaven, particularly those people who live in a house built by architect Paul McLean. He is one of the ultimate star architects in that area, together with Brian Foster and Wallace Cunningham. So I would say Wallace Cunningham really beats them all. Wallace Cunningham is really, it's really the ultimate. I love the way this looks. Yeah. The house by Wallace Cunningham, particularly the Razor Residence, is my absolute favorite. And check it out, it's on YouTube. It's amazing. There are several videos made with the Razor Residence. One in particular has an amazing ambient song playing with it that is flamenco inspired. It's absolutely gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. I have that on my love list, and I watch this often, very often, particularly at night, and I dream of living there with Alex Jones. I'm sorry, this is super cringy. Yes, I know, this is super cringy. I'm very well aware that my videos are cringy, okay? But, you know, I do it for art's sakes. L'art pour l'art. That is the French expression, l'art pour l'art. Art for art's sakes, that is the reason why I make the videos. And also, you know, I let art speak. And hello, this is the love message from the Blue God, an abstract blob. Yeah, this is super. And this is a morula. This is a cell accumulation from outer space. Yes, an embryonic formation from outer space. Much better than the human type. Yes. So yeah, that's my love message. No, I am not drunk. Again, I am drunk on jasmine absolute oil and Play-Doh. To be correct, it is not Play-Doh, it is called Dow, only Dow. It's the generic. They had to leave the play out of it. But it's still play, I'm still play. No matter what, I smell a little different than the Play-Doh, and I feel a little bit different than that, but it's almost the same consistency, actually. I used to play this on my violin, so this can be played in higher notes as well, of course. Beautiful. Very, 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 very amazing. Johann Sebastian Bach was an absolute genius from out of space. He was there thrown into the 1600s, you know, with all of its fundamentalism and so on in northern Germany. So the Lutheran regions, that's where I'm from, with the Lutheran message of hold the other cheek, you know. Even my agnostic parents have still got that program running. It's a program that embeds itself deep into people's neuronal connections. And I don't think it can be erased out of it. So particularly when there's no questioning happening, then it cannot get erased. How can it get erased, right? But that's what we precisely have to do. We have to knit it all up and completely recycle it into something else. The infinite cosmos doesn't have a religion. That is the new message for you. Yeah. That's awesome. That's so beautiful. I love clay. I'm a play child, like Jonathan Miese is. I'm a clown, I'm a jester. I am the Joker on the King's Court. I am the liberator. I am the wrathful warrior. That's what I was in a former life, so not anymore. I also was a wrathful writer in my former life. Then I was innocent dogs in between, so just to remind me where I'm coming from out of space, where there is no wrath and where there is no judgment, where there is no punishment. But the people in the chat room believe that if they don't cater to their Christian daddy God, the daddy God made in the image of their dad, made by their dads in the image of their dads. That's how conceited these people are, actually. They believe they're going to be punished. So it's very unfortunate. It's a tragedy. That's what that is. And that's why I'm going to give you a blue rose. It has a bit of jasmine essential oil mixed into it. This is music from infinity. It was written for the Christian church because that's all they got that time. But he wasn't, his mind was in infinity, not bound to the religion, and certainly not believing in a punishing daddy God. So not in that artistic mindset when he was writing. These composers, they can compose in their heads. They don't even need to write it down. That happens in the brain, and they're completely tapped in and tuned in and turned on by the infinite. That's what Esther Hicks always says. She calls it the vortex. So yeah, you can call it the vortex. I call it the blue god. It is the infinite cosmos. It's wonderful. This music is genius. It is innocence. It says yes to all life, to all existences, here on earth and beyond. It would never take a side. It would never judge anyone. It would never hurt anyone. It would never bully anyone. freedom. Freedom from religion. Freedom from oppression. Freedom from sexism. Freedom from dualism. Freedom from ideologies. I just made that connection for the first time in my life. Ideology. I and Dio. I wonder if that's where it comes from. The I idea. Idea also means I see. Idea is I think it comes from Greek. It means I see, idea. I see something on the outside. But it actually is an idea that I form on the inside. I as me. Deo means God. I, God. That's how conceited humans are. I have an idea. I am Deo. Deos. Deos or Dios. Deos. Yeah, that's what they said. That's what it really means. It means I God. I am a God. That's what it means. That's how humans think. That's where it originates. Yeah. So if Deos also, if that word is also related to see, then whatever I see is Deos. Whatever I see is God. This here is God. It's the blue God. Okay? So that means everything. Your cells, my artwork, my pants, my sweater, the greenhouse, the trees, Papa Dog. It all is the blue God. It's part of the whole. But careful. Let's not fall into relativism again and into this, oh, if I'm God, then I don't have to do anything. Then I'm already perfect. No. Ho, 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 ho. That's where people easily fall into. The ego is always lazy. The ego is intellectually lazy and dishonest. Okay? And it wants to think of itself as being a god. Okay. So that what people think of God is the father projection. That's a very arrogant thing to do and very false. Okay? There is no father figure. Everything is the infinite. Okay? And everything is part of it. But be careful, that doesn't make you somehow where you don't have to even work on yourself anymore. No, you have to take full responsibility. And I believe that's also what Jesus meant when he said, I am whatever, they probably put these words into his mouth, or he probably worded it differently when he said, I am the Son of God, is we're all children of the infinite cosmos. Everything is, every material is, okay, my printer. So, okay, that doesn't get you off the hook though, where you have to lean back and say, it's all being wonderful, it's all perfectly orchestrated already. No, it obviously isn't, and we can see this very clearly. Okay, so truth is that the truth here on earth is that things are very problematic and very painful. There's a lot of suffering, and we need to do something about it. We can't hold the other cheek, and we can't be violent either. We need to do rational, planning and rational handling of things. Okay, it's very important. I don't see much of that happening in the world. I don't see much rational handling of things. The people who are for Kavanaugh, for example, there's no rationality involved. They are coming from their religious side. It's side taking. That is my football team. Yeah, so I'm gonna stand up for that football team no matter how much shit they do. It's my football team, right? That is not responsibility, okay? And the other people come from the other football team, okay? So, and both football teams are played by the corporate agenda. That's the tragic story about it. Sorry to disillusion you on that. It's the only reason why this whole thing even flew up like that is only because the oil industry is terrified of Donald Trump going green eventually. So they want him out. So they figure if they can do it to Kavanaugh, they can get people turned against Trump too. So because they know, they have studied the populace body very, very carefully. Their market psychologists are completely on top and totally informed on how the average human brain works. Okay, so they play you for a sucker completely. They play your side taking. They play it out all the way. You don't get anything from taking sides. You don't get anything for it. You don't get a cookie for it. Okay. Not even a cookie. Not even uh, not even a glass of water. Not even a hug. You get nothing for this. Okay. You don't even get much respect from anyone for taking sides. So it's just what everyone does. It's the average person who allows them to play them. So don't be played. That's my message to you. Think a little further. Okay, and so since I have done a lot of research on this, I know what's going on. That Kavanaugh guy, Brett Kavanaugh, he is on the side of the oil industry, okay, and he is against abortion. This is all totally irrational stuff. And he is, there's no telling, he might be for shooting wolves, you know. He might be completely corporate, like corporate paid and bought and catering to the corporate agenda, to the ranchers, to anyone who pays them, gives them a kickback, and so on. That's how it works. There's no. This whole judge thing is so superfluous. I mean, it's like a total waste of taxpayers' money, a total waste of the fund of the United States. This entire, they should just, I mean, it's almost as good as not having a judge at all, to have the wrong judge. So if we had Al Gore as Supreme Court judge, then that would be a different story. Al Gore would be making decisions for the planet, for the animals, against the hunters. Okay, we wouldn't have to put up listening to this, to the shooting out there. There's a guy down there. That guy's completely out of his mind. I hear him every summer screaming for his dog. He has absolutely no control over his dog. The dog has to live in a kennel. I hate it. I hate knowing that there is a dog living in a kennel. Not even getting hugs, not being in the house with the family. Dogs are family members. That dog is terrified. One time we saw him, I talked about this before, it really bothered me. When we still had Kenny, we saw that dog, a hunting dog, a pointer I think, and I think he had the vocal cords removed because I saw him one time driving the dog somewhere. I think he would usually never does that. So, and when I saw that, I already suspected the worst, and ever since then, the dog has not been barking anymore. And how is that? How does that feel? Can you imagine you're in a cage. You're in a prison, in a small prison cell. You can see out, but you can't get out. And you cannot even cry. Your vocal cords are cut. You cannot even express yourself. You know, crying and screaming is a tremendous release of tension. At least that's the least we can do when we're in a bad situation. That is very painful and traumatic. At least crying and screaming, you know, to release that tension, to express yourself, your sorrow and all of this. The dog cannot even do this. So I want people to reflect over these things and become aware. Become aware about the cruelty and the injustice in the world. That is your duty and that's your responsibility. Every single person has that responsibility to do something about it, to speak out, to do activism, to stand up for the innocent beings. Stand up for those who cannot talk, who don't have a voice. Do that every day. In any positive, gentle, kind, loving way you can do it. Any kind of form, any kind of modality, video, blogs, commenting. The people in the chat room, I think many of them are, I have this feeling that many of them are either paid by the corporate agenda or they take very strong sides with their football team, you know, the religious side taking. And they want me out of that chat room really bad. But I'm very glad that I have been censored by some of those Fox YouTube channels, but the main ones, the real official ones, they don't censor people. It's very good. And CNN doesn't censor either. So Al Jazeera censors people. I'm never going in there again, ever. And there are some real extremist right-wing YouTube channels that also censor people. So when you say bring love into the world, they go blocked. That's their way of communicating. It's no communication. Okay, it's not co. It is mono. This dictation. Mono communicating. I don't know. Monocating. That's what the word is really. Dictational. My skin turns blue. As long as I live, my mission is to give my 3 cents of love art to the world. That's so every one of my art pieces contains that message. Every one of my videos contains that message. My blogs, my comments. It's about love. Real love, not sexual. Real love is compassion, kindness, gentleness, peace, peacefulness. It's also interesting, this video accompanied by these shots. Kind of really highlights that entire situation. It's not ignored. Let's not hold the other cheek to the violence in the world. That guy, he has shot a bear. He puts out bear bait, shoots deer, then he cuts the bones in small rings, and then he sprinkles them out there in front of his house and even up over our property line, even onto our property. It's very difficult to put a fence there because it is a steep slope and it's completely forested. And I hate that. I hate to see this, what this guy is doing. We can't even have a conversation with him. We tried. There are such innocent beings in this world. And when I see these totally pure, innocent beings, dogs, armadillos, squirrels, all of those innocent beings, pigs, horses, these pure, innocent beings, when I see these innocent faces that are completely open to love, it does something to me that is, it's almost devastating the way that feels, because it stands in such infinite contrast to the rest of, to the humans, to the majority of humans. With their guns and with their force and with their violence. To see these innocent pearls in this chaotic war field. That's what gets to me. Where I just want to rescue every one of them, every one of those innocent beings. I want to shield them with my body. I want to hold them. I want to protect them. Every one of them. But I'm just one person. It's impossible for me to do this. So I wrote a story, a sci-fi story. Out of this despair, I wrote that story because I didn't know what else to do with this. This is my way of dealing with this, with the way that feels. So the novel is called The AGI Project. I will put the link under the video. It's on Blogger. Just like in art, you have legislation over the clay, you have legislation over your canvas. You can choose any color you want, you can choose any shape you want. You're in charge. You're in charge of writing a story. You can write the story and shape it and mold it any way you want to. And that is what I did. That's what I do with all of my blogs and stories. I wrote several fairy tales. Would never be, would my stuff would never be supported commercially. Never. Because it stands against the corporate agenda. If you write something that caters to the corporate agenda, chances are high that they will support it, that they will publish it. But if it stands against the corporate agenda, no chance. Almost no chance, you know. It's okay. That doesn't deter me from writing and painting. It's a wonderful thing that to be an artist, to be able to do this. Whether it's seen or not. So it's a wonderful thing to have these mediums to express yourself with. And I want all people to do this. It doesn't matter what other people think, or society, or whether you have incorporated society's taste and rules and social ideas and all of this. It doesn't matter. Get free of that and do something. Create. Make your own. Not out of the idea again from corporations, from social constructions, but something that comes from your inner child, from you, something that you are making. And it doesn't matter what someone says about it. When it comes really from you, it will piss people off, and they'll shame you. Don't listen to them. It's rather a compliment. The painter Francis Bacon, English painter, I think somewhere around 1920, 1930. Very famous painter, abstract painter. He was always painting meat, human meat, and human mixed type of things, hybrids, human deer hybrids type of meat. There's a lot of pain in it, very raw. And he said to his friend, I don't want my artwork to be liked by the masses. If my artwork ever, that's what Francis Bacon said, if my artwork ever makes it to the public and people start buying it and liking it, I'm gonna have to burn and destroy all of those paintings. And actually he started doing that. There was some kind of OCD thing with him. That's also not well, because it's a pity that he destroyed so many of his paintings just because someone liked it. So he went overboard with it. He went to the extreme of not tolerating it at all if someone else likes it, because that would be a slap in the face for him. That would be like, then he would sort of look at it himself as having become mundane, or having become the populace body, or similar to the masses. That's what he didn't want. So, and there's pride in that too, and that's ego, and that's mental illness, of course. So ego is mental illness. People need to know this. So, there were some people that rushed in and rescued these paintings in the nick of time sometimes, against his wish, and there was a battle going on, like a tug of war going on. And a very problematic brain, that Francis Bacon, very troubled, but a genius, really genius. Genius artist with incredible, incredible passion of colors, color melanges, and shapes, and action and fast movement in these paintings. It's like you take a snapshot of someone moving very fast. So that's what he was expressing. He's expressing violence, basically the violence that was happening inside of his brain, expressing that. But there was also there's just so much like beauty, if you want to use that word. There's beauty in his art, beauty in the sense of art beauty. So an expression of it's hard to describe it. Really amazing. I mean, I don't want I don't want violence hanging on the wall, so that I don't want. So it cut off. I wonder why. So yeah. So no, I only have my own artwork hanging because my artwork is that what I want to see in the world. When I was a child, I was more on that order of those belly artists, that paint out of their guts, paint a psychogram. I bet, some of what I'm doing has some psychogram in it as well. But the overall character is the caring womb that I want to see in the world developing. So I want to create a paradise. So that is the overall shape, and that's why I only use happy colors. Happy, 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 bright pastels, soft, creamy, motherly, giving, uterus, breasts. So it's the nurturing, the maternal character of my art. So that's what I want on my walls. So I'm painting my own life that way. And it feels really good. And I want other people to do the same thing. And you are the boss. You are in charge. No one can tell you to shape it differently. One time I was trying to do a book project with someone, and she wanted to do a children's book, and I jumped on that idea right away, and I said, that's fantastic, I'm in, I want to help, and I will make the drawings for it. And she liked the drawings, and it was okay for a while, but then after a while, she started to tell me, I want this a little bit more, and I'm using that word now, socially palpable. So I don't know what word she used, but what she wanted is social palpability. She wanted to make it tasty for the populace. She wanted to make it a little Disney, a little Mickey Mouse-ish, a little socially acceptable, a little bit more, what other people can identify themselves with, a little cruder, a little bit more tacky. And when that started to develop like this, I went with her, I even stretched myself. a little bit in that direction because I wanted to make it work. But then came a point where that was no longer doable. We were no longer in any way on the same page. So she wanted me to paint a pig sitting there with a book in his hand, like a humanoid pig. That's not my style. Okay, I just, I can't, That went too far for me. So I can make a pig and a human hybrid sort of formation. I can do that, but not in a Mickey Mouse way, not in the way where the average person can find that cute or funny or say, ha ha, yeah, this is cool or whatever, or in a, it's too crude for me. So why do we have to humanize everything? So in a bad way, why do we, pigs are smart. They can't read books, but they're smart in their own way. They are very cognitive. They rescue other animals. They understand things right away. They're smarter than dogs. I think smarter than wolves. Why do we have to humanize everything? So, or for example, that writer David Brin. I don't know if you're familiar with his work. I found him through